feel like I'm forgetting something. I hope you can hear me okay. My microphone's in a strange place. Um, is it plugged in? Yes. So I am in the closet again. It seems last time I guess I got pretty good reception. So I'm hoping for the same today. I don't know how long it's gonna be. I've been kind of feeling a little low energy lately. Really having to push my way through the day. I wish like the number of live people was like not there. I'm gonna get a piece of paper to cover it up because it makes me feel self-conscious when it pops in and out and changes. Anyway, so nothing in particular has, well, made me feel depressed. It's just where my mood is right now. And but I do this, I have to add this to the title because I definitely do need to talk about one topic that may have contributed to my mood as it is today, right now. And that is energy drinks. So, to tell you why I tried drinking them, I grind my teeth at night, and I do wear night guard. I have like a variety, and I do wear something, but I still will clench. But it's hasn't been as bad as usual. But anyway, I have wore the surface off of my bottom teeth there, and they were getting stained. I only drink 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and then in the evening I'll have 1 soda. Everything else is water that I drink. And but I was getting really self-conscious of this, and I use some bleach for your pen, like for your teeth on there, and that's helped quite a bit. And I thought, well, maybe if I didn't drink any coffee, maybe if I just tried those energy drinks. And to be honest, oh my God, I was like, I drank one and I was like flying for the whole day. And I slept, but when I woke up, I didn't feel rested at all. I felt like I had been up and down all night, or just, I don't know, like I hadn't slept. And it was weird because this silly smartwatch said I slept perfectly fine, but I was having nightmares, like flashback type nightmares of where I used to work. In particular, I had this dream that somebody, like maybe they got relocated or something, and someone asked me where they were. They thought I still worked there, and I showed them where it was, and she hadn't been there in a long time, so I didn't know if any of their policies had changed, because she was just ready to go and grab a leash and get out some dogs to walk, and it'd been a long time. So I was looking for staff just to make them aware, I'm just here because I showed this person here. She hasn't been here in a long time. And I don't know what your policies are now. But I started out the sentence as, I used to be the manager here. And the person, now this isn't a dream, the person I was talking to was this young woman, and with really short hair and jeans and t-shirts, and they like exuded this, because there was like a bunch of them, like clones, and and they were like, like vegan hippie like, but um in a righteous condescending way. And all I was saying was, I used to be the manager here, but it's been a long time and this person came here. I don't know what your policies are now, so I'm just letting you know she's here. That's in my dream. That's all my intentions were. But as soon as I said I used to be the manager here, I guess they knew about me, or, the bad people at the shelter talked about me in this period of time that had since I had last been there. And I'm the manager here now, and blah blah blah. And it was just really weird vibe. Like, the animals were in like these weird, it looked more like a zoo than an animal shelter. So anyway, it was a very they were like descended on me, and were very mean, and like I woke up in the middle of these horrible emotions, just very negative, very unpleasant emotions. And so I thought, after a few nights, I thought maybe this energy drink isn't the way to go. I think maybe it's too much caffeine for me. And so I experimented by drinking coffee one day, and I did sleep better that night. But these things are like $2.50 each, so I had a few left, and I'm not gonna waste my money. So every other day until they're gone, I'm gonna drink them. But I did notice one morning I woke up and my jaws, my TMJ, was I was hurting. I don't have, from the grinding, I don't have any cushion left in that joint. And it really hurt. So, and I know that with that appliance, I really can't move the jaw. So I must have just been clenching so hard and putting so much pressure to try to grind. If you do not grind your teeth, please count that as a blessing, because it leads to all kinds of expensive problems. So I like that they actually made me feel hypomanic. I felt good. My mood improved when I drank one of those. I was getting addicted because I wanted to drink another to boost it even more as the afternoon went off. Because there is a crash. That the first day I didn't have a crash too much, but each day following that, there's like a boom. You don't need to eat. You don't need to do anything. You feel good. You have energy, fuel to go. And it's not good for you fuel, apparently. And I really think I could have gotten addicted to that physically and psychologically addicted to that feeling. So I I I know that going on, for people who drink a lot of caffeine, there are people who like drink coffee all day and stuff, and it is a drug, and you do have to you get a tolerance to it. And you have to increase how much you ingest and to get the right effects or just to maintain. And it's a real bitch to come off of. Bad, bad, bad headaches. So I'm glad it was only like, but like I said, I have 2 more in the fridge, and I'm like, they're expensive, and I do like that feeling. Maybe strategically drink those 2, because the ones I got tasted really good too. It was like fruit punch, and but I I'm going to go back to just my coffee in the morning, if that at all. And I mean, that was just like something that the orthodontist that I had to see for getting the appliance, one of them, um, for grinding my teeth, he was just on me constantly about everybody about caffeine and nicotine, but I don't smoke. Um, but now I know why he was like that. Um, I mean, I already have a problem. I don't need to make it any worse. In that pen with the, you put on there, and it was lightening the stain that I was self-conscious of. Because when you wear the enamel away, you're left with just what your bare teeth are, and your bare teeth are not white. So anyway, so my advice for people with mood disorders, sleep disorders, anxiety disorders, stay as far away from those energy drinks as possible and stick to, I mean, the furthest, a strong coffee in the morning. And that's it. I know it's hard to, yeah. Um, it's, I used to drink 2 cups, and I got it down to 1 cup. But it's tempting when you are feeling slow and low energy, to drink one just to get shit done, you know. And I'm looking at some of the natural stuff, and I'm going, you know, I was a nurse, and I really don't know what any of these ingredients could do for me, you know. Green tea and vitamin C and D. I know what vitamin C does for you, and vitamin D, but they come up with some other stuff too. So maybe I'm going to have to look into a more natural high. And I'm also just very sensitive to any sort of altering drugs. So I did the experiment for you. You don't have to do it. Don't drink those. Let's see. But I mainly wanted to talk about, yes, they do cause, espresso gives me panic attacks. Let's see. I wanted to talk about, because I've talked about fortune telling and reading minds, that you can't read minds, you can't tell the future. I kind of touched on magical thinking. Um, that's a little bit more along the lines like if you're manic or if you have OCD. Things that are just utterly impossible. Like if I don't touch the doorknob 3 times, we're all going to die of, you know, that's magical thinking. But because I am in a low, I'm actually coming out of it. I do a lot of black and white thinking when I'm depressed, so I thought I would talk a little bit about that. And I, for a very long time, did not know anything about this, and I'm sure people had said to me, oh, well, that's black and white thinking, but they never got in depth with it. And it wasn't until I went to this one therapist who truly did implement the cognitive behavioral therapy as a way of teaching you to do it on your own as you go through life, and then you won't be wasting your money in a therapist chair your whole life. I just occasionally go, if I'm going through something or something has changed and I need to digest it. But I took the lessons from her years and years and years later. So I can, even when I'm depressed, I'm talking about moderate to mild depression. Severe deep depression is harder. But first, I'm just going to talk about moderate to mild depression. I think things like everything I do turns to shit. So you totally feel that way. You do. It feels that way. It's a feeling that is true that you are having, but the statement is not true. And so when I hear words like every time, everywhere, everyone, every, all, nothing, words that are exclusive to everything else, I stop and take a closer look, because the truth is, yes, I'm depressed and I'm feeling terrible, but the truth is that there have been things I have done that did not turn to shit. And say, for me, I mean, life is a journey. Things change. Nothing stays the same. Things change all the time. And you have to figure out how to adapt. So you're going to go through things that you do well, and you're going to go through things that were really hard or didn't work out. But even trying is an action. So that's not, I fail at everything. If you tried and failed, you still succeeded. And I know that sounds like some kind of like, oh, what is that word that I want? I don't know, guru thing, but it's true. Um, and I would challenge myself every time I would hear in my head, or that thought would come out. Everything I try turns to shit. That's my most common black and white thinking. And there is this little therapist in my head that takes it apart and says, okay, tell me something that you tried that came out well. Well, I came up at the shelter, I came up with a certain kind of special adoption event, and it was very successful. We got a lot of animals. It was super busy. Papers were flying. Animals were going out the door. It was awesome. It was my idea. I put it together. I coordinated it. I organized it. I put the flyers out, So there's one. Already that thought of everything I do turns to shit has been proven wrong. I mean, that's not to say that what I do next doesn't turn to shit, but sometimes you do all the right things and the universe just isn't in sync with you. Like, you might have a really good idea and you might have the means and the ways and the whatever, and maybe you just aren't in an area where the market's for something like that. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with you failing. It was still a good idea. Or if you tried, you tried. The worst thing you can do is not try. Let's see. Let me think of another one that I tend to say to myself. I used to have the no one likes me, or that's more I'm trying, my brain just froze. That happens sometimes. Just give me a second. Okay, here's another one. I'm gonna be fat forever. I say that to myself, and I take that apart, and I'm like, now that is something that is up to you, and whether it's true or not, because I was a very petite young woman and went on medication, Zyprexa, Remeron, Depakote, the works, gained a lot of weight and just in depression and just kept gaining. Got to a pretty high number for my height. And it scared me when I got to this one number. And I lost a lot of weight. And I worked really hard to do it. And it took me 2 years. And a lot of people struggle with that. And I think a lot of people are up and down especially if you have mood problems, because it's hard to stay on a diet if you're depressed. Some people eat certain foods when they're depressed to make them feel comfort. Um, and then manic people don't eat some because they're too busy. But if um, and if you don't eat, you can feel more manic. It feeds. But so I know that if I say to me I'm going to be fat forever, and that is kind of black and white, my ears are getting red. Um, that means I know that I've done it before, so it's perfectly within my ability to lose weight. So it truly is up to me. Um, let's see. I think another version is every time I try to do something right, it fails, or I always fail. And I can tell myself I I got into nursing school myself. I got a scholarship. I graduated. I worked. I helped people. That's another one is when I'm depressed is I'm no good to anybody. I'm a burden on people, and I'm only going to be a bigger burden as I get older. So, um, but I can pick that one apart by in the past, I've helped people through whatever vocation I was doing at the time. I try to help people now with dog training. Um, sometimes um, when I'm depressed, I imagine that I was supposed to be in a different life than the one I'm in. That if I didn't have bipolar disorder and social anxiety disorder, that I would be this super successful and fulfilled person that has if I think that I would be someone that had more than one degree and have a PhD in something completely useless like philosophy or English literature. That's what I wanted for my life before bipolar uh, decided to take over. So, um, what else do I say to myself when I'm depressed? Um, well, I think right now, the biggest one that I say to myself is, I'm tired of having bipolar disorder. And I don't tell many people that. The only people I have said that to, my mom, because one time it was in the middle of the night, and this is recently, my dog had just injured his leg, and and I thought we had plans to do this special service dog training, and now he's going to have to use that money to pay for his surgery. And I just slipped into a really, really bad despondent depression. I was just sitting on the couch in the dark with my dog, and I was just crying, and my mom came out, and she said, "Is there anything I need to know about?" And that's kind of like code for are you feeling suicidal? I'm like, no, I'm just tired of having this problem interrupt my life so much all the time. I'm just constantly up and down, and I sometimes don't know what's me and what's bipolar. And and I'm just tired of trying sometimes. I just get so tired of trying and something coming along and knocking my plans back. I think that's the most disheartening thing, is when you do try for in um and you're really putting yourself out on a line, like out, really exposing yourself to do something, maybe meet somebody, um or just even make a friend, or go volunteer somewhere, and it blows up in your face, and because of the something to do with the anxiety disorder or mood disorder. So by the time you get to my age, it starts to become, I'm just kind of really tired of this. I know it all. I recognize it when it's there. And I mean, none of it's new anymore, so it's not something to read about. I've read every freaking book there is to read. I don't need to know anymore. I can tell you more than you can tell me. So, um, I'm just tired of, I think that's lately been the biggest thing that I say when I'm depressed, is I'm tired of having these times where I just have no energy, and I don't feel good about myself, and I don't feel good about the world, and I feel like I'm in a rut, and at the same time I'm supposed to be in a rut to be healthy, and it gets so annoying. And with winter it's only going to get worse, so I need to get on my mom about where is that light she said she was going to buy, because I think I already need it. I think I'm already getting cabin fever. I don't know. Tomorrow I had wanted to go for a hike because it was actually going to be nice here, and instead I have to go to the doctor's office so I can get some really stupid, benign medical medication refilled, because I hadn't been there in a year, so they won't refill it for me without seeing me. And I'm like, people, your office is located in a hospital, and you want me to come in during COVID to see how I'm doing so I can get my heartburn pill. So there goes my hike. I have to go with my mom to pick up groceries because we don't go in the stores anymore. Nobody's wearing a mask here. Um, I'm tired of the nightmares. I think that place, what happened at my work, has given me PTSD. I run into the people. It's a small town. We're gonna run into each other. Um, but when I see them, I get very um like, I don't know how to explain it. It's not even anxiety. It's like I feel vulnerable, like they could do something to hurt me, and like I want to go, like some harm could come to me because of their physical presence and the nightmares that I have about those people. So I think I have a little PTSD, and I really should be getting therapy, but I have to pay for so many other things that I can't do it right now. And um, um, if we've seen my videos, you know how I feel about the pharmaceutical companies and our healthcare system as a whole. And so I need to bring this up. So if you live in England, you don't have to worry about putting any money down to get that vaccine. National health care. So, if you want one here, sure, the vaccine from the drug company is free, which is weird, but you still have to pay your doctor a service fee to give it to you. And insurance might cover it. So you're telling me, what if you don't have insurance? The economy's in the toilet, you don't have any money, so you don't get the vaccine. What? It's like somehow figure out how to go to Canada and get one. Anyway, I thought I have a big problem with that. So the black and white thinking, when you hear in your head, this closet is very sort of cramping. When you hear in your head words like, and you're like frustrated or, oh my goodness, excuse me, despondent or just low mood, and you hear words like every time, every, nothing, all, those words have a name and I forget what it is. But that is your signal to put on the brakes and pick it apart. Now, in the case of a severe depression, like I've had a few of lately, I have a line. I have the line on both sides, actually. And I'm pretty good. I'm in pretty good shape compared to most people with bipolar disorder, mood disorders. I can go pretty far and still know I'm feeling a certain way because of my disorder. I can be pretty depressed and still be able to tell myself, this feels like bipolar depression. I'm pretty sure that's what most of this is. So I'm just gonna wait it out. Hopefully it won't be too long. If it takes too long, I'll call the doctor, but I usually don't because I don't want to change anything unless it's extreme. And I can get fairly high. I'm a little less capable than I used to be, but to recognize that I'm bouncing around, talking and writing, and and my room's just a chaos and paper everywhere, I can look and go, okay, well, I know I'm hypomanic, but hey, let's just get some stuff done until it goes away. But and those are within the confines of being able to recognize those thoughts and pick them apart and get them back in order. But obviously, if you're severely depressed, like for me, when I'm that depressed, I do lose the ability to do that. And if someone tries to do it for me, like remind me of things I've done that were good, I will come up with some way of saying they're wrong, or redirect to something else awful, or belittle it, like, well, you did this great thing. You did this thing and it was really great. And but then everybody left and nobody said good job. And so nobody appreciates me. And you will not get anywhere with someone who is severely depressed. Honestly, you're just going to have to wait for the medication to kick in till they get some insight, and then you can talk about mind reading and all those things. And with mania as well. I have a line, and if I cross that line, I don't know that I am in crazy land. And a lot of times nobody else knows either. I'm very quiet about crazy land, and can get very lost in here and go very far without anyone knowing quite how bad it is. Luckily, it's not been that way for a long time. I don't get the good feelings much anymore. I get the irritability. And you're not going to get anywhere trying to discuss and point out and whatever if you're in a mixed episode. You're just trying to minimize the damage until, and maybe do any activity that will help exercise some of that intense, excessive energy, rage, tension. So what I'm saying is, when I'm in the hospital, which has been a very long time, I don't usually, it's still good for them to have it. I don't usually learn a whole lot at first because I'm still altered. And it's when I'm more outpatient, working one-on-one with a therapist, that I gain more insight and get more tools for me to use on my own. There's another one, like I said, magical thinking, and that applies more. And I do magical thinking, and I noticed it happening. It's happening, and what happens is, if it's an OCD thing, and you have rituals, and you are certain that if you don't do certain things in a certain order, bad things are going to happen. Now, when I worked at the shelter, I kid you not, before I went to bed, I had to put on the same hat, one of my witch's hats, and light an incense stick with the same lighter. And then I had to take my wands, I had 3, and say, I mean, I'm really putting myself out there because it's like goofy, really goofy. Tomorrow will be a good day. Tomorrow will be a good day. Tomorrow will be a good day. And I just knew that if I did not do those things, I would, that next day was going to be horrible. People were going to come in and yell at me, and animals were going to die, and staff weren't going to show up. I mean, that's magical thinking, that by doing these rituals, I could control future events. And it never, ever coincided. But it started with these dolls I got from someone gave them to me, or did I buy them? They're from Mexico, and they're called worry dolls. And they're these little dolls that are in a pouch. And before you go to bed, you're supposed to give each one a worry. So it will worry about that worry for you while you sleep. So you don't have to worry and you can fall asleep. Well, I did that. I started with that. And then I kept adding things on. So until I was doing this and, giving each doll a worry, doing the incense, the hat, the wands, and, and then it would get longer and longer. It never affected anything with the next day. But I was getting to be where it was kind of drawn out, and I started to know what this kind of was, and that this couldn't possibly be true. And so I purposefully went, especially it was easier when I stopped working there, but I forced myself to do things in a different order and skip certain things. And I don't, as far as I know, I don't have OCD. I know that behavior was magical thinking and it was not normal, but I was under a lot of stress. And I was like, anything that will help. So, and it became something like what someone with OCD would have and how it would progress. So I still have the urge to do those things in that order, but now I do something else and I completely forget about the ritual. I followed a schedule. Like, you've seen me hold the card up. I don't know if that was OCD control or the same thing. But in a world that feels completely out of control, you're going to do anything, even if it's weird, to have, like, get some sense of control. If I followed this routine just like this, everything will stay the same. Nothing will change. If I follow this to the letter, nothing will change. Nothing bad will happen. Well, that's not true. You have no control over what's going on. Not only do you have no control over what's going on outside of you, in world events, you have no control over what's going on with the people that are surrounding you, that you might live with, encounter, and you also have no control over what's going on inside of you. The fact is not to make you feel frightened before bed or whatever time you're at, but you could be in the works of something going on in your body and you don't even know it. You have no control. So I think that's the kind of stance I take on my bipolar disorder. I do what I need to do, and I do everything that I can do. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I don't have control of a lot of things. So that's just the fact. I feel a little differently about the anxiety, though. The social anxiety, I still put myself down about that. I still think that I still feel very negative towards myself, that it's something I should not have. I should be able to just decide to not be anxious around new people, or in certain situations. And I'm just sure I'm the only one that is, in this situation of social anxiety. I know I'm not, but I feel like I am, and that I know what it is. I see it there. I feel it happening. I should be able to put a plug in it. I should be able to change it. I should be able to stop it. I'll always be this way. That's another one I say is I'll always be alone. And I don't know. There's nothing wrong with being alone, remember. I'm probably going to think of one later, completely black and white thinking. Um, I don't know if I'm a horrible person ever. Everyone's out to get me. That's not true. Joe Blow down the street working at the gas station doesn't even know who I am, so that can't be true. All of those statements. But like I said, it's hard to do when you're really far gone and in a mood or high anxiety or distress. What I think in those instances, rather than doing cognitive behavioral therapy when you're too far gone, one way or the other, well, you might not be able to do this if you're manic. It's hard. Well, I take that back. If you're super depressed and you really just can't get through with the cognitive behavioral therapy, picking apart your statements, I think that writing down in a notebook, stream of consciousness, just as the words come. Just, you don't have to go back. People always balk at journaling. It's not an art. It's not something anybody's going to see. You don't even have to read it later. I don't read I have 20 journals spanning over 30 years or so. And I don't go back and read them. It's just a way of purging. Now, I said I don't think you should do it with mania, because Well, and then I took that back. When I'm really manic, hypomanic and manic, when I'm getting up there, I have hypergraphia, where I write a lot, very short stories, but it has nothing to do with. It's not journaling. I think I'm going to be famous, so. But I think it works with. I think it works with depression, to just get those down. Journaling, just getting your thoughts down. You can call it that. People think it's a girly thing. It's just get your thoughts down, fill up a notebook and throw it in the fire. I mean, it doesn't have to go anywhere. It's not a girly thing. It's a very helpful way to purge yourself so you're not as burdened of those negative, horrible things you say to you somehow. And I think, and that's what I mean by having a relationship with yourself, is because you get to know yourself very well by writing stuff down. And if you can't write, then they have this super duper thing of talking. But anyway, it's 11:30-ish here for me, so I need to get ready for bed. I always forget to say this, but I always forget everything. So if you like the video, please